Welcome back, deep divers. Today, we're going deep, deep down into a basement.
A basement at Stanford University, to be exact.
Right. Back in 1971, the setting for you've probably heard of it, the Stanford Prison Experiment.
Oh, yeah. One of the most, I'd say, infamous psychology experiments ever conducted.
And lucky for us, we've got a transcript, like a word-for-word record of what went down.
Which is amazing, right? It's like we get to be flies on the wall, witnessing this ethically questionable but undeniably fascinating piece of history.
It's a bit of a heavy one, this deep dive, exploring the dark side of human nature, kind of.
Yeah, the whole goal was to see how much our environment shapes our behavior. Like, can a situation actually override someone's personality?
And they chose a prison, of all places. They really went all out, didn't they? Turning that basement into, like, a real lockup.
Oh, they were serious about making it feel authentic. They had cells, the whole 9 yards. And get this, almost 100 college students applied to be part of it.
Wow, really?
The pay was pretty good for the time. $15 a day, which is like, what, $100 today?
Ah, that explains it. So they had, like, a huge pool of people to choose from. They didn't just take anyone, right?
Nope, they were very picky. Used personality tests and interviews, wanted to make sure everyone was quote-unquote normal.
Psychologically stable. Otherwise, it'd be a mess, right?
Yeah, exactly. They ended up with 21 participants.
And how did they decide who'd be a guard, who'd be a prisoner?
Flipped a coin, basically. Random assignment.
Just like that. Their fate decided by chance. Man, I'm already getting creeped out. Okay, so did they ease these guys into their roles, or was it, bam, you're in prison?
Full immersion. They actually had real police officers arrest the prisoners at their homes.
No way. Talk about method acting.
Right. Fingerprinted, stripped, the whole works. They even gave them numbers instead of names. Dehumanizing from the get-go.
And the guards? What'd they do to get them into character?
Uniforms, wooden batons. Oh, and mirrored sunglasses.
Mirrored sunglasses. Now, why would they do that?
It's all about psychology. When you can't see someone's eyes, you don't see their humanity.
Right, it's like a barrier. Makes it easier to be cruel, maybe.
Exactly. It feeds into that de-individuation thing, where people lose their sense of self, especially in a group.
And the rules were pretty simple, weren't they?
Basically, just no physical violence. That was the big one, which, as you'll see, was difficult to enforce.
Okay, I'm ready for the drama. Take us to day one of the experiment. What happened?
Well, day one was mostly just awkward, a lot of nervous energy. You can sense it in the transcript. The prisoners were kind of joking around, trying to adjust. The guards, on the other hand, they seemed unsure of how to act.
Makes sense, right? They're just college kids suddenly given this weird power.
Yeah, and that power dynamic shifted quickly. By day two, things started getting tense.
Oh, I bet. What happened? Did someone snap?
One prisoner, yeah, barricaded himself in his cell. That was the first real conflict. He even said, "This is getting crazy." You can feel the tension in the transcript.
I bet. What did the guards do?
They clamped down. Day three, they became super strict. Punishments, head counts, the whole bit. Trying to assert their dominance.
And how did the prisoners handle that? Were they all fighting back?
Some were, but a lot of them, by day four, were starting to show what we call learned helplessness. Like, they just gave up.
Seriously, they just accepted this, like, horrible situation.
It's a psychological thing. It happens in real prisons, too. People lose hope. And get this, some even started siding with the guards.
Like Stockholm Syndrome.
Exactly. It's complex. But the point is, by day five, the guards' behavior was getting out of control.
How so? What were they doing?
There's a part in the transcript where they describe simulating stepping on the prisoners' backs during lineups.
Well, hold on. Stepping on them. But no physical violence was allowed?
Right. And the other prisoners, they didn't do anything. It's like they'd become completely passive.
Man, that's messed up. And day six.
Day six is when things really went off the rails. A couple of prisoners had mental breakdowns.
Wow. So it was that bad.
Bad enough that they had to call in a prison chaplain.
A chaplain?
Right.
Like a priest? What for?
To assess the situation. And even he was like, whoa, this is like a real prison. It was that intense.
So they shut it down, right? They had to.
Yeah, only lasted 6 days out of a planned 2 weeks.
6 days, and it was already that bad.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Some of the guards were actually upset that it ended. They wanted to keep going.
What? Why, after everything that happened?
That, my friend, is a question that's still being debated today. But that's a story for part 2 of our deep dive.
Okay, so the big question, why? Why would those guards want to keep going?
Right, after all that, after seeing the prisoners break down, it's a tough one. And honestly, we don't have a clear answer.
I mean, it wasn't real, right? They knew it was an experiment.
Yeah, but that's actually one of the biggest criticisms of the experiment. Some people say the participants were just playing along.
Like howing it up for the cameras.
Basically, there were interviews afterward, and some of the guards admitted to, like, putting on a show.
So maybe they wanted to keep going because, I don't know, it was fun for them, like a weird game.
Maybe. Or maybe they, like, really believed in the experiment, thought it was important to see it through. But either way, it raises questions about, how real the results were.
Right, if they were acting,
Yeah.
can we really draw conclusions from it?
Exactly. It's called ecological validity. Like, how much does this lab setting really reflect real life? And that debate got even more heated because of this court case a few years back.
The one with the bank robber?
Yeah, this former Army Ranger, he robbed a bank, and his lawyer argued that, well, guess what? He'd been in the Stanford Prison Experiment.
No way. Wait, so he was saying the experiment made him do it?
Kind of. And get this, Zimbardo himself, the guy who ran the experiment, he was part of the defense team.
Seriously, he was, like, using his own research to defend a criminal.
Yep. Argued that the Rangers' military training combined with the experiment, it created this, like, perfect storm, made him more likely to, do bad stuff.
So was the judge convinced?
Well, here's the thing. The Ranger leader admitted he knew what he was doing, said he wasn't, like, brainwashed or anything.
Oh, so the whole Zimbardo defense went out the window.
Pretty much. Which, of course, started a whole new debate about, nature versus nurture, free will versus determinism.
Like, where do we draw the line? When is it the situation and when is it the person?
Right. It's messy. Right. But that's what makes the Stanford Prison Experiment so fascinating. It forces us to grapple with these, like, fundamental questions about who we are.
And it makes you wonder, like, is there a little bit of that prison guard in all of us?
Ooh. Now there's a thought.
It's a scary thought that we all have that potential.
It is. But I think recognizing that that's, like, the first step to, making sure we don't actually become those guards.
Right, recognizing those situations where we might be tempted to, I don't know, abuse power or just follow the crowd, even if it's wrong.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be like some big dramatic prison situation. It happens in everyday life.
Right.
All the time.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, I'm thinking about work. How many times have I just gone along with something, even if I didn't agree? Just to, not rock the boat.
Right. Or even in our families, our friend groups. That pressure to conform, it's powerful.
So how do we resist that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to say, oh, just be strong, stand up for yourself. But, like, in the moment, it's tough.
It is tough. No easy answers here. But I think the Stanford Prison Experiment, it gives us, like, a framework for thinking about it.
Like a warning sign.
Mm.
If these normal guys can become, mini tyrants in a basement.
Exactly. It can happen to anyone. So we have to be, like, extra vigilant. Pay attention to those subtle cues, those moments when we feel that pressure to conform.
And then what? What do we do when we feel that pressure?
Well, first, just recognize it, acknowledge it. That's huge.
Yeah.
And then ask yourself, what are my values? What do I believe in? And then act accordingly, even if it's hard.
It's like having that little voice in your head saying, nope, not going to do it. Not this time.
It's exactly that. And sometimes it's like speaking up. Sometimes it's just, walking away. But doing something, not just being passive.
Because inaction, that's how these systems, these bad situations, they thrive, right?
Absolutely. It's on all of us to break the cycle.
Wow. Okay. I'm like feeling a little empowered, actually. And a little overwhelmed, to be honest.
It's a lot to process. But that's the point of these deep dives, right? To make us think.
Yeah. And to hopefully, make us better humans.
I like that. Better humans. I'll take it.
Well, on that note, big thanks to our listeners for joining us on this intense journey into the depths of the Stanford Prison Experiment.
And remember, even though it was a flawed experiment, the questions it raises, those are still relevant today.
More than ever, I'd say. So keep thinking about it. Keep those conversations going.
And keep questioning everything.
Until next time, deep divers.